there, this is Sherry Hayes with MomDelights.com. I'm the mom of 15, been homeschooling for 32 years, and today I'd like to talk about doing like a revamp or a refresh of your house by spending very little money. So stay tuned. So it's the new year and I love January and February. They're some of my most productive months of the whole year because there's not the Christmas madness isn't happening, and it's not yet the time where we're gonna go out and do all the yard stuff, and we can kind of be inside and we can just concentrate on getting the stuff of life taken care of. Like for homeschooling, it's a perfect time to really concentrate on academics. You can really get a lot of time in on your math and your spelling and your reading and all those good things. And the beginning of January is a great time to look at your house, look at your environment and say, maybe we need to refresh a few things, revamp a few things. And it's a lot of fun just to take that time and just go through and do it. And so there are some principles for this that I like to use, especially since I rarely have had money to do it. I need to spend money on things like, milk and bread and shoes and stuff like that. So I don't have a lot of money for stuff to put in my house to make it pretty. Thankfully, I have a big God, and He has provided for me in so many ways in these areas. Somebody will bless me with something, I'll come across a sale. There are all kinds of different ways that I've been able to gather up some beautiful things. So sometimes we get this idea that we have to refresh and revamp according to what the latest trends are, the latest styles, what's in. And I find that if you do that, you always feel like you're behind, or you're ashamed, or somehow you got to make more money, your husband has to make more money. You have to have more than nice things in life in order to enjoy life, in order to have people over, so your kids aren't ashamed to have their friends over and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? What you do is you try to go for things that make you happy, and you try to create your own style, and try to go for things that are classic, things that don't go out, okay? And when you see this couch right here, okay, it's a brown couch, of course, according to the newest, well, it's not the newest trend, by the way. According to the last trend, all your furniture either must be white or covered with white, right? And color, you can't have these books behind me. Those are no-nos because they're different colors. And so those are trends. Those are trends. They come and they go. I remember when I was a young person in school back then, it was the mod, they call it mod lines. It was the furniture was all the nice curves, and there were no angles. There were only rounded curve everything everywhere, and white plastic rounded everything. It was really I really liked it at the time, but that went out, right? And then you had all the other different trends in between. And I've got to tell you, I got this sneaking suspicion that the reason they change up the trends on us is so they can sell us more junk. Does that make sense? Even if you sell the same furniture, they can sell you the paint to make the furniture with the current colors, right? And this has been going on forever, And it's partly because as domestic engineers, it's our job to change things. But what will really keep you from really getting sucked into all that is to decide that you are going to create a museum of beautiful memories. That's what your house is. Your house is a museum of beautiful memories. And these memories are going to probably take a lifetime to procure. Now, that doesn't mean you have to keep every little scribbled paper that your child ever did. But certain items that you collect are going to have certain value, and they're going to bring across things that have memories that are positive, that are wonderful, or that honor someone, and you want to keep that. Now, that also does not mean that just because Aunt Millie gave us that ugly vase that we have to keep it. That's not what I'm talking about. You can get rid of stuff, even though you love that person, it's okay. It's really okay. But so so you're going to gather these things that make you happy, and things that remind you of good things that are beautiful. And you probably have some of this already. And I got to tell you, sometimes I'm afraid to bring some of this stuff out because it's not according to trend. But like I'm saying, we have to create our own style. And I'm going to tell you, I have a sneaking suspicion that farmhouse style that was started by Joanna Gaines was really done because my dad had a farm in Texas. And on that farm, there was a junk pile. And in that junk pile was everything that farmer could not burn in his incinerator. So there were old oil cans, and there was old plumbing stuff, and there were old toasters, and there were, everything that you couldn't burn very well was in that junk pile. And as a kid, we used to go to that junk pile, and we would pull out the fun things. We'd play with them and play house with them and stuff. But as the years, another friend of mine had a junk pile on her farm, and I was helping her clean her house one day. And I pulled out this oil can, and I said, we put some wildflowers in it, and we stuck it on the counter. It was gorgeous, right? And so I think that's probably where she started. She said, I want to make this house beautiful, but I don't want to use stuff that costs a lot of money. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get some subway tile because that's the cheaper. And I'm going to use piping and just some plain wood for the shelves. And that's cheaper. And it just got to the point where now everybody wants that stuff. So now it's pricey. But see, she took what she had in her hand and she made it beautiful. And that's what you can do too. That's what I can do. And so what we do is, here's one of the first things we want to do. We want to start with a scriptural precept. And I will read to you Proverbs chapter 24, verses 3-4. And it starts like this. Through wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Isn't that really neat? You didn't know home decorating was in here, did you? But anyway, so the first thing we want to do is we want to submit our plans to God and be willing to ask Him to help us create a place where He would be happy and that the people we love can be happy to be there. And those are our goals, really. And to make it beautiful and noble, because that's really our theme this year is beauty and nobility, right? That's what I showed you on my vision board, was it last time that I did the vision board? My vision boards really aren't like the typical vision boards. They're like really what God's goals are and how I can bless Him and weird stuff like that. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to share with you, I may have, this may be repeats of what I just said, but I'm going to share with you some basic things. Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, my grandmother used to tell me that her house was decorated in late Salvation Army. Anyway, that's funny. All right. So we talked about these different precepts that I like to go by when I'm revamping my house. Number one is start at the foundation. Make sure that God is happy in your home. And it's really not about all decorating. It's really about the atmosphere you're creating by the love and the appreciation you show each other. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is creating your own style. And we talked about that, about you take and things that make you happy. If you like color, put color there. If you like more traditional, use more traditional. If you can't decide on any one thing, you want to put it all together, it's called eclectic. Put it all together. Just use some basic design principles, such as when you're using pictures, try to do in groups of odd numbers, 3 and 5, and like that, okay? It doesn't always have to work that way, but those are some basic things. And when you're setting up a table, have different heights and make one item higher, and then you can have different heights of things, and you kind of want to build a picture like a composition when you're putting stuff on a table or a shelf. Those are some basic principles. If you're mixing patterns, have something in those patterns that go together, some colors that connect them or something, you know what I'm saying? And it helps to know the color wheel, you have your red, yellow, and blue, right? And then those are your primary colors, and you have your tertiaries, which are green, purple, and orange, right? And you have you can mix colors within that. Complementary colors are the colors that are opposite on that wheel, such as the opposite of blue is orange, right? The opposite of yellow is purple, and those complementary colors will go together as well. So those are some basic principles. You can learn more of those. And so when you're creating your own style, use these basic principles of decorating, and everything will look like it's supposed to be there, even if you gathered it 20 years apart, or different stores or different countries, you know. If you can put it all together with these different elements in mind, you can create beauty out of almost anything you have. Okay, so that's what. So then the principle number 3 is make the most of what you already have. And this is something that I did. I mean, we went through and we pitched and burned all the trash and everything. So you got to declutter. Decluttering is one of the best ways you can revamp your house, because when you declutter, you're going to go through and you're going to find the trash. The things you've been kicking around the house, you know, you just move it from one place to the other. You don't know, it doesn't really go. You think, well, either someone gave it to you and you feel bad about giving it away, or it's like was really expensive when you bought it, but now it's really ratty and awful, but you just can't like let it go. Or you're saving it for someday when everything will change and you might have a need for it. You know, there's all these different reasons we keep stuff around, but if we have too much of that stuff, then what it does is it crowds all the really pretty, nice stuff that we do like. It crowds it out. We can't see it. So we have to be really willing to let that go and get rid of it. And so that's the first thing. Get rid of this stuff. I had this, I don't know what it was. It was like this rack thing, and I think it was meant to hold wood, but it could have been yarn, but it was really huge. So it should have been wood, but it was too narrow for a log to fit in, because we have a whole bunch of firewood and it does not fit in there. But it was really pretty, and so I kept it for like 20 years. And I would put it someplace, and we put like not old stuff. We would put like our throw blankets in there, and then people would trip over it and fall, and it was just always in the way. But I kept it, and finally, a couple weeks ago, I gave it away, and boy, it opened up my whole. I kept it in the fireplace, right? It opened up that whole area and made it look so much nicer that I did not have that piece, that decorative piece that I didn't need. It wasn't there anymore. So it's just stuff like that. That was crowding out the beauty of that area by me thinking I was keeping something pretty. Does that make sense? Now, I am not a minimalist, not a strict minimalist, but I am a minimalist in this sense. I only keep what I really like, what I think is really pretty, or what is really useful to me. And I try to get rid of, I would not be able to live with myself and my family. We would be tripping over everything every day if I was not able to do that. Because when you have the amount of people that we've had in our home, unless you are able to minimalize your junk, you cannot live. You would be swimming every day. Swimming and bumping your toes every 5 seconds. So I had to learn to get rid of stuff. Get rid of what you don't need, what you don't like, what you're saving for someone. Sometimes this is what we do. We go through seasonal clothes, and we know we pass down clothes from one child to another. That's how large families work, right? But don't keep the stuff that has the stain or the hole or the missing button, because you're not going to get to it, okay? I know, I've tried. Unless it's something really, really special, I don't make the time to sew the button on the ratty piece of pair of pants. I just don't do it. So what you got to do is get rid of the stuff that's got the tears and the stains, and like they're just a little wonky, maybe a little out of style, gotta say. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of that stuff and only keep the very best. And then, as that child grows into that size, then you can trust God to add items to it. It's not like you have to get rid of everything, but don't keep crap in your buckets in your storage area that you're going to have to go through and go, oh man, this is awful. You know what I'm saying? It's either do it up front, so that when you open that bucket, then you've got nice stuff in there. and you don't have to have 15 kids to use that method of passing down. I know, and not only passing down to your kids, passing down to your brothers or sisters' kids, or passing down to someone in the church. Keep only the best stuff. So there, I've ranted about that. Okay, now clean and refurbish what you have. Sometimes something is awful and ugly because we're just not finding the time to take care of it. Now this can be like a wooden coffee table or a little end table. Maybe it's your dining table. Maybe it's something, that like a picture on the wall that the frame needs some attention. Or an old picture that just needs a little cleaning, and you can do that in a safe way. So there are just all kinds of things that you could bring out the beauty in stuff you already have. Like for instance, I was talking about wood furniture. You can get wax crayons and marker with furniture dye in it, and you can make those things look amazing. And beeswax, did you know that you can find, what is it? I think it's, I forget the brand name, but you can get wax that you can put on furniture and you can buff it in and you can make a beautiful sheen. Another thing, like, I don't know if you've seen it before in one of my videos, but our dining room table, we have a thick sheet of plastic that we have put on top of that dining room table, and we took the plastic and we pulled it underneath on the sides and we stapled it with, you know, big staples. And that has protected that table. It makes it always look shiny and pretty, and we don't worry about that surface. We don't worry about kids spilling things or too much water, the food doesn't get in the cracks and crevices or anything, and it has preserved that table, and it makes, and when we moved, we even took 2 leaves out of it. We just bought a new sheet of plastic and put on, and that is maybe like $20 to do that, and it saves your table. Well, that's what it, like if you have a table that the top of it doesn't look good, use some of those markers, put a plastic sheet on there, bam, you got a brand new table. You can do that with other tables as well, I do believe. And like if you have a couch or a piece of upholstered furniture, steam clean it, right? If you have a few tears that you can just sew them real quick, put some thumbtacks there, put some nice throw pillows on top, maybe a throw to hide some of the bad parts, and you've got a brand new looking couch, you know? A lot of couches can be done that way. Just think of all the things in your house that you think, oh, I've got to buy it, it's so shabby and awful. Just try to refurbish it yourself, and you save oodles of dollars. It just takes a little bit of time and effort, and it also shows your kids that their wear and tear is making your stuff look awful and how much work it takes, and you can make them do some of the work. Like you're gonna scrub that chair right there. Okay, and but you know, just like if you have a carpet, like a rug that's been here on your floor and it's looking shabby, wash it. That's easy, right? If it has frays, cut the frays off. Then all of a sudden you have not a brand new one, but a newer looking one. And you know, just taking the time, making like a week where you just devote yourself to this can change your whole house. It can change it. Okay, also, here's something also you can do. If you don't feel as though you are a competent decorator, you don't know these principles, you don't know how to put these principles in place, you can develop an eye for it just by studying, like go on Pinterest or Instagram and just study pictures of like eclectic cottage. Like cottage style is a good thing to look for. Right now cottage core is really big, or boho or whatever, you know, and it doesn't really matter what style you look at. What you're looking at how people arrange things so that their goods look really refined and nice. Like how do they put their pictures? How do they stage their tables? What kind of linens how do they use those things? Like study those pictures, just study until you kind of get an idea of the patterns and the different things, and you'll get used to that. And so when you go to style your house, like put things like where you think they're nice, and then go away for a while, you know, go shopping or something, and then walk in your house and look at it and say, you know, that looks kind of weird over there. I'm going to change that. You know what would go over here? A couple pictures. I have a couple pictures. I know what could go there. And so then I'm leading into my other principle, and that is shop your house. Okay, so lots of times, like you go into somebody's house and they might even have some expensive stuff here and there, but it's not in the best place. It's like it's not showcasing. Like you have a beautiful, beautiful picture. You've got that hanging in your bathroom instead of in your living room, like on this wall. It would look gorgeous here, right? And also, so what you need to do is you need to go around your house, gather up the really nice stuff, and you can just like stick it on your dining room table or on your counter in your kitchen or on your bed, and then go throughout your house and kind of shop and kind of move things around, and you'd be surprised of what kind of decor, kind of, you know, cool vignettes you can have going on just by stuff you already have. And you know, that doesn't cost you a penny to do that. And while you're doing that, you might find, you know, well, oh, wait a minute, I need to shine this copper pot, or, you know, whatever you got, or this silver needs a little bit going over. And so then you can make stuff look better while you're doing that. You know, oh my goodness, I need to wash these curtains, right? And if you wash the curtains, they look better. Clean the blinds, whatever it is. And so what you're doing is you're revamping your house just with what you have, and you're not really spending any money. Now, sometimes you might need to, like I said, you might need to get some furniture markers. Maybe you need to repaint something and you don't want to spend the time of sanding it down and all that. You know what? Chalkboard paint, or they call it chalk paint, I think. You can, and with that, with just a little bit of prep, you should be able to paint over furniture very easily, and it really lasts. I know, because I have this really old, it was an old picnic bench, and it was just the pine with some like dark varnish on it, and some dark stain and a varnish on it. And it was so old, and it was kind of looking like, so I took some gray chalk paint and I painted over that thing, and I'm telling you what, it has lasted. It doesn't scratch, nothing. I just got it from Walmart, okay? So, I mean, it really does work, just saying it from personal experience. And so sometimes, you know, and I use that on a nightstand by my husband's bed, and it has lasted like forever. And so, you know, you can do that. You can use chalk paint, and there's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of ideas everywhere for that. So, now, I think this, let's see, okay, here's another principle, okay. Add in slowly and carefully, okay. So we want instant. We want to have like the gorgeous house today. We want to have everything placed today. Well, sometimes, you know, it takes years. I used to think that everybody, like, snap, crackle, and pop, they go out, they spend thousands of dollars, they get their house all settled, and da-da, you know, and I guess, you know, if you were going by the trends, you could do that. But if you want a house filled with memories and a house that's a museum of love, then it's going to take you some years to get everything just the way you like it. And then you'll have to move. No, but you know what I'm saying? You don't have to have everything beautiful, everything gorgeous, everything like you want it today, but you're just moving towards that. So you're patient, and you are looking for things that are meaningful and beautiful wherever you go, and then you add to that. And also, when you add something beautiful that's really, really gorgeous, maybe something that was so-so, you can let go of that because you have something to replace it. And that kind of happens throughout your life. And I gotta tell you that neatness and cleanness can go a long way towards keeping a house that's beautiful. You know, we spent a full week we were intense. Every night I was just so tired because we were just being full on intense all day long for a whole week, 5 days. And I gotta tell you, this week we started back to school, and our house is so easy to clean. It's so easy to maintain. It's just amazing. I'm just really enjoying this. It like feels weird, like, shouldn't I be working harder? And also, remember, God's great. God graces us for things, right? And so I remember in our last house, I could point to all the things that God provided, either for almost free or free, that filled my house with beauty. From the chandelier over the table, we had like the basic brass chandelier, and we went around to garage sales, and I guess these people had worked for the builders, and all the things the people had ordered to put in their brand new houses that they didn't want, then they gave them to these people to sell. And so we got this brand new chandelier, gorgeous, wonderful thing for only $20. And there was a guy at the garage sale, there was an electrician. We paid him $20 to put it in for us. It was so easy, and it was in a vaulted ceiling, so we needed help. But you know what I'm saying? You can do stuff like that. And then on the side of the road, I found this antique sideboard. It was sitting in my dining room, and I got that for free. I had another sideboard that I at this Goodwill outlet. I paid $10 for that. I'm looking at a wingback chair I paid $3 for. And it's in really good, excellent shape. It's almost like brand new. It's just an older style, but I don't care. And it was $3 for that. And so when we pray and we trust God, and He understands our heart of beauty, and He wants to bless us with that, because His goodness is beautiful. He loves beauty. He made the flowers and the trees and the little birds that sing in those different colors. And just, we have our little fat koi fish in our pond. We have 3 fat koi fish. And they're beautiful, and God made those, right? And so He loves beauty. He loves the nobility of beauty. He loves the beauty of nobility. His goodness is beautiful and noble. And so we can just really, really enjoy that with Him. I think it's part of our relationship with Him that we can enjoy that together. I don't think it has to be separate from our relationship with Him. It's going to grow out of that. It's going to grow out of us. So anyway, that's about all I can say about that. I think I've pretty much exhausted the whole idea. So while you so if you wouldn't mind, if you could like and subscribe, and if you comment, it'll increase the algorithm. I know someone was doing that for me. Thank you so much. And you know, I'm going to really work on that to-do list. I think I'm going to offer that daily to-do list to add to this video. How would you like that? I'll try to finish that tonight and add it. And so that way you can have a free download of a daily to-do list. How does that sound? So just like and subscribe, and I hope you are blessed. Bye-bye.